Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. I am filming yet another book tag today. I have seen so many fun ones going around recently and I just want to participate today. As you can tell from the thumbnail and title of this video, we are going to be going over the mid-year book freakout tag. I have done this tag on my channel once or twice. Pretty sure that I did not do it last year, but we are somehow already halfway through 2025 and I wanted to sit down and take a moment to talk about some of the books that I've read this year, some of my favorites, some of my least favorites, and things I'm looking forward to in the second half of the year. This has been such an exciting year for me personally, just with school stuff, getting married, my reading, my bookshelves behind me, everything has just been chaos, but like in the best way, and that kind of goes along with my reading. So I have a lot of books to talk about today, some great ones, some unpopular opinions maybe, but we're gonna chat for the next few minutes and answer the mid-year book freakout tag. This tag has been around for years. If I can find the original video, I will share it in the description down below, but if I can't, I will at least have the questions in the description if you are also interested in doing this tag. Question number one is best book you have read so far in 2025. Kind of surprisingly, I have only had 3 or 4 5-star reads all year so far, and I've read over 60 books. So I haven't found a ton of favorites, but I do have a couple of new favorites. First up, and you will see this book several times in this video, is Unromanced by Erin Connor. This is a romance between a romance author and a TV heartthrob, and he is a hopeless romantic, always falling in love too fast, too hard, and that ends up getting his heart broken. Sawyer is a lot more cynical after her last relationship with her ex-girlfriend and the pain that she went through because of that, and kind of the way that she's been treated because of her identity. And they end up making this dating list. She needs to get some mojo back in her romance writing. He needs to kind of take a step back from romance and see that like romance might not be all that it's cracked up to be. He needs to take a break from dating for a while, and so they form this list of things to do, and in the process, of course, they fall in love. I loved this book. It was funny, it was vulnerable, it was spicy, it was entertaining. I laughed out loud. I flew through it. I read this for our romance book club that I co-host with Stasia, and it was 100% a favorite of mine for 2025. Another favorite that I have is Confessions. This is a translated thriller, also like short story collection vibes, about this teacher who on her last day at her job tells the class this story about how 2 of her students were involved in the death of her daughter. And so you have 5 or 6 chapters in this book. Each one follows a different character's perspective in the story and how they are all woven together. I say that this gives short story collection vibes because the stories are all linked, but there's also enough context where I feel as though you could read them individually and still kind of know what's going on. I flew through this book in 3 hours max. I read it so quickly, very creepy, very intriguing, and I was just honestly captivated the entire time that I was reading it. And then the last favorite book that I want to mention really quickly is I Did Warn Her. This is a new thriller that just came out. It is an isolated thriller, very eerie setting. It takes place on a yacht where the stewardesses are getting murdered, and we follow multiple perspectives, and all of the perspectives that we follow are stewardesses on this yacht, and there's a lot of money, things going missing, people are dying, people have their secrets. I thought this book was so fun, one of my top reads of the year so far. If you like thrillers with isolated settings and unlikable characters, I would highly recommend this one. Smoothie break already because I talk too much. Question number 2 is best sequel that you have read so far in 2025. I don't tend to read a lot of series, and if I do, they are interconnected standalones in like the same universe. So the first one that I have is Rouge by Greer Rivers. This is the second book in the Tattered Curtain series. They are dark romance retellings. This one is a mafia billionaire romance. Had a great time with it, gave it 4 stars. I did tab this one. Phantom, which is the first book in the series, is one of my favorite books of all time, so was very excited to read this one. I don't quite see how it was connected with the first book, if there were any character overlaps or anything, but I did have a good time with it. I don't read a ton of billionaire romance anymore, but I did think that this one was a very fun time. And then of course I also have to mention Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is the prequel technically to The Hunger Games, follows Haymitch's story. I thought that this book was very nostalgic. I flew through this one very quickly as well, and I just really enjoyed being back in the world of The Hunger Games and seeing all the character crossovers between this book and the original trilogy. Gave this one 4 stars as well. Such a fun time. I do think, in my own personal opinion, that they rushed to get this book out, because I did notice 2 or 3 grammar / spelling mistakes, which was crazy for me to notice in a book of this, like, this nature, because it's so popular. But I did notice some mistakes in it, so I do think it was kind of rushed at times, but overall so fun. We'll always love the Hunger Games series. Question 3 is, what is a new release that you want to get to but have not yet? First up, I have Dream On Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. I have read Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and I really enjoyed that one. This is a sapphic small town romance between a waitress and a wannabe actress, and she takes a job at the cafe that our main character is working at, and they end up falling in love in the process. My romance book club is reading this book in August or September. I think it's August, so I'm saving this one for then, but I am very excited to get to it. I have the Barnes & Noble edition, and it's stunning, so this is definitely one of my highly anticipated releases for the year. And then the second new release that I would like to get to so soon is With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. I have read every single book that he has released, have really enjoyed a lot of them, have liked other ones, but I always auto buy Riley Sager. I typically tend to buy his books on Book of the Month, but they did a study last month and did not include him, so I'm waiting to see if he's on July's Book of the Month, and if not, then I will just succumb to buying a regular hardcover. But every single book that I own by him is on Book of the Month with like the little logo at the top, so I'll be very bummed if this one is not gonna happen the same way. I have zero idea what this book is about, but I kind of prefer to keep it that way, especially with his books. I kind of just dive in because I will read anything that he releases. Question 4 is, what are your most anticipated reads for the second half of the year? I have 2 that I'm very much looking forward to. Number 1 is How to Survive a Horror Story by Mallory Arnold. No idea what this book is about, except that it's about 7 authors, I believe, who go into this creepy manor, and they either can't get out, there's a game that they have to play before they can get out, or weird things start happening that keep them trapped inside this house. This book sounds very creepy. I like the simplicity of the cover because it adds to the eeriness of it, I think, and this is definitely one of my anticipated reads for the back half of the year. The other anticipated read that I have, and I think this book comes out in August, is Heartstrings by Ivy Fairbanks. Morbidly Yours was one of my favorite reads of 2024. I love that book. I read it for a Halloween reading romance vlog, and I gave that book 5 stars. So cute, so adorable, and I'm obsessed. I have it somewhere on my shelves behind me somewhere. But the second book in the series, which is a standalone, like an interconnected standalone, comes out later this year, and I did not know that until recently, and now that I know it, I will definitely be pre-ordering a copy because I loved Morbidly Yours so much, and I really want more from this author. Question number 6 is, what is your biggest disappointment of the year so far? And I'm so sorry, this is definitely an unpopular opinion, but yeah, it's Magnolia Parks. I read this book a few months ago, and I thought the hype was gonna mean that I loved it. It sounded like everything I wanted a book and more, and then I read it and I was really bored. And yes, I have a lot of tabs in this one, but I read it for like a read along, and I just did not like it. I thought it was very repetitive, very toxic, but not in a way that still made me want to root for one character or the other. I just thought it was the same thing that happened over and over again, and their drama was just very repetitive, very much a cycle, and I didn't quite see my opinion on this couple changing. Will I continue the series at some point? Probably. I do have all the books, the UK editions, on my shelf, but I don't plan to get to it anytime soon. I'm keeping this right now just for the aesthetic of it, but if I don't end up liking Daisy Hates, I'll probably go ahead and unhaul this series. I gave this book 2 stars in case you were wondering. Question number 6 is, what is your biggest surprise of the year? And I have to say, number 1, The Chamber by Will Dean. I have read at least one other book by the author and it was fine, not great, but I was very curious about this one because I've never read a thriller that takes place under the ocean before, and this book was amazing. Super short chapters, very clinical writing that made the eeriness of the book really grip me and make me want to keep reading. This is a thriller about this group of professional underwater divers, and they are doing some routine maintenance on the bottom of the ocean, but suddenly members of their crew start dying one by one. They are trapped in this very small chamber in this submarine, and they have no idea why their bunkmates are dying. I was gonna try to find the picture of the diagram for you all. This is the submarine. So all these people are trapped in here, this little tiny oval thing in the middle, this cylinder. Yeah, that's a big word. They're all trapped in this cylinder thing called the chamber, and that's where they all start dying. So crazy, so fun, so quick, and I really enjoyed this one. My other biggest surprise is a fantasy, and that is The Courting of Bristol Keats. I don't remember why I bought this book, except maybe for the fact that at the end of last year, kind of, I think it was, I read Phantasma by Kaylee Smith and really enjoyed that book, and I was looking for some more romantasy to kind of follow up after finishing that book while waiting for the second book in that series, and The Courting of Bristol Keats caught my eye. I'm not a huge fantasy girl, but I do enjoy the genre occasionally, and I really enjoyed this one as well. If you like fairy vibes, not super complicated world building with some like real world stuff mixed in, would recommend this one. The romance is very slow burn, ends not really on a cliffhanger, but definitely makes me want to pick up the second book when it comes out later this year. Not sure when I'll get to it, but I did have a good time with it. Question 7 is, do you have a new favorite author, whether that is a debut author or just a new to you author? For me, that's Erin Connor. Unromance was her debut book, and I know that she's working on book 2 right now, and I cannot wait to check it out. Question number 8 is also about Unromance because it is about your newest favorite crush, and mine is definitely Mason from Unromance. He's just such a hopeless romantic, so sweet, and just such a gentleman, and I really, really love him. Question number 9 is, who is your newest favorite character? And I am bringing you 2 because as a couple, I really fell in love with Lennox and Maxim from Kennedy Ryan's The Kingmaker and the Rebel King. This is a romance duet. My book club read it in January, and I just really, really enjoyed this couple. Both of their personalities as individuals are so strong, and when they come together, they are even stronger as a couple. And I loved reading about them, thought their story was beautiful, and it was great. I loved it. Question 10 is, what is a book that made you cry? I haven't cried in as many books this year as I typically do. I tend to love a good cry. I love a good emotional read. I only have 2 books that have kind of made me cry so far this year. First is Past the Broken Bridges by B. Celeste. Obviously, everything by B. Celeste tends to make me emotional in some capacity. This is about our main character, Sawyer, who is diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and is finally off to college to live a normal life, because she just has not had that in her life for so long. And she reunites with this boy from her childhood, and they fall in love, but their story is tragic at the same time. That's all I'll say about this one. Always cry with B. Celeste's books, and this one was no different. If you like contemporary books that don't necessarily have happy endings, I would recommend Past the Broken Bridges for sure. The only other book that I think has made me tear up so far this year is The Shadow House by Anna Downs. This is actually a mystery thriller, and I do tear up sometimes in books in this genre. Don't know why, but I really enjoyed this one. This is about a woman who is on the run with her 2 children from an ex who was very abusive, and she finds this utopia, this very small, isolated town where they can kind of live peacefully and start over. There is a house on the property that has a shadowed past, and when things start happening to this family, who knows what's gonna happen. I really enjoyed this thriller. This is not just a mystery, it is a book about motherhood and family and bonds, and I got emotional at the end of it because of those themes that we dive into in this one, and I cannot recommend this one enough. Anna Downs is a very underrated author. I have read 2 of her books now and have enjoyed them both so much. Question 11 is, what is a book that has made you happy? First is One Pucking Love by Ellie Wade. This is a brother's best friend hockey romance. Such a quick, such a sweet, such a short read, and I enjoyed it. It made me smile, and I was rooting for our 2 main characters in this one. And then the other is Never Ever Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. This is a young adult contemporary about 2 girls who get back at their ex on a reality TV show. If you like reality TV, you have to check this book out. It was entertaining. It's a little bit young at times. It feels like high schoolers and drama because that's what it is. So if you're not into that, maybe this one is not for you, but I very quickly got over that very petty teenage drama and fell in love with the stories, with our characters, and watching our 2 main characters get revenge on their ex while also getting some feelings for each other in the process. Question 12 is, what is your favorite book to movie adaptation that you've seen so far this year? And as I was going through all the books I've read in 2025, I don't think any of them have been made into a TV show or a movie yet, but Centers on the Reaping will be a movie, I believe, next year. It's coming out, so I will be very much anticipating that one. Question 13 is, what is the most beautiful book that you have purchased or received this year? And I actually just opened up this book yesterday, and for some reason I am obsessed with it. It is stunning. I should take the plastic off it so y'all can see it better. This is a special edition that I received from Darkly, and I have since canceled my subscription because money, and they're just very slow. But I'm glad that I kept it for at least a couple months this year because I just got my copy of Keep Me by Sarah Kate, and this cover is just beautiful. For some reason, I am so drawn to it. The back is very pretty. I love the typewriter and the hands and just like the art style of it. It's beautiful. We also have, I have to show y'all, this reverse cover, which is also stunning, and then the naked hardback is, wow, that's beautiful. Love that as well. And then of course art on the inside too. So all around, this book is stunning. I'm so glad that I got it, and I do plan to keep this one on my shelf. I've only read 2 books by Sarah Kate, and they were 2 of her darkest romances, but I do plan to read this one at some point. Question 14 is, what books do you still need to read by the end of the year? I picked out 2 that I really would like to get to. First is Charlie Donnelly's Guess Again. I received an ARC of this book. I am in the author's reader group, and we all got ARCs of his newest release that comes out at the end of July. This is one of my anticipated reads also for the back half of the year. I love a good thriller, and I'm excited to support this author and keep reading his books. And then the next book that I'd really like to get to before the end of the year is When Haru Was Here by Dustin Thau. This is a contemporary young adult romance. If it's anything like You Reach Sam, I know that I'm going to sob during this one. I have no idea what it's about. I just saw that it was on sale at one of my bookstores a few months ago, and I grabbed it up really fast because I really enjoyed You Reach Sam. That was a 5-star read for me back years ago when I read it, and I am looking forward to this one a lot. I believe that it's about best friends and grief and dealing with the aftermath of losing somebody that you love, which is all I need to know. I just cried a lot when I read You Reach Sam, and I think I'll probably do the same for this one. So these are 2 of like the biggest books I need to get to by the end of the year. There are others, of course, that I'd also like to grab. The 15th and final question is, what is your favorite video that you've made so far this year? I have 2. First is my Frida McFadden reading vlog, where I read her oldest books and compared them to her newest release. I had a great time with that one. Very fun time putting it together and kind of analyzing her oldest and her newest works. And then my other favorite video from this year so far just came out, and that is organizing my dream library. As you all can see behind me, I'm officially set up in my library in my home, which is crazy, and I had such a fun time painting these shelves, putting these books together, and putting my library together and creating my own space in our home. So that's my other favorite video. So fun, so chaotic, but I love it. Those are all my answers to the mid-year book freakout tag. I would love to hear your response to any or all of these questions. I'm tagging anybody and everybody to do this. I know it's a very popular tag here on booktube, and I'd love to see your answers to these questions as well, which will be in the description down below. If you have any favorite reads so far this year, biggest disappointments, feel free to comment down below and share those with me. I would love to hear your thoughts on some of these questions if you want to go ahead and answer one or two in this video in the comments. If you enjoy all things bookish, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.